Hello, welcome to The Storm Chaser, a life story of an unusual man. This is episode 27, Near-Death Accident. My name is John, and I'm from Anaheim, California. In my last episode, episode 26, I've shared with you about how God opened up the doors for me to get an education when I first came to America. I also mentioned about my first summer job where I got fired. Yes, I got fired. You didn't know that? So go back and watch episode 26 to find out more about that part of my life story. So let's pick up where we left off from my last episode. When I was fired from that summer job, I believe I was close to completing my associate degree in electronic communication. I started looking for my first real job in my field of education. Mind you, back then in 1978, we didn't have no internet. I had to look through hundreds of job ads in newspapers. What a pain it was. I remember looking at many of those ads and trying to determine which company I would fit in. Mind you again, we did not have internet back then. So there's no easy way to research what each company's profile looks like without knowing much about America and its geography. I didn't really want to relocate. So my requirement was that this company must be local. So one day I came across an ad of one company that was less than 15 miles from where I used to live. There were no other companies that come close to it as far as distance is concerned. The product that they were designing and manufacturing were the industrial CRT television monitors. The job position posted was an electronic technician. I thought it was quite a fit for me since the product that they were producing were what I studied and learned from school. And the position was exactly what I dreamed of having ever since I was growing up in Hong Kong. Still, being a young Christian at that time, I simply said a prayer for the Lord to bless me. I took out my Thomas Guide. Yeah, anyone of you used Thomas Guide before? Or you even know what that is? In case some of you don't know, it is a paper version of a Google map. Well, Google it if you like. So, with that Thomas Guide in my hand, I drove over there to that company with great anxiety and without much confidence. After filling out the application and took a written technical test, I was surprised to be called to an interview with a production manager right there and then. My goodness, I didn't expect that at all. Well, just a side note, years down the road in my professional career, I ended up working with this production manager in another company. So remember that. Okay, back to the interview. After about half an hour of interview, I was told to wait in the lobby. I didn't know what was going on back then. But then after 15 minutes or so, I was called back into the manager's office and I was offered the job and was asked when I can start. I was elated to have received such a good news so quickly. And that was shortly before I was even graduate from this 2 years junior college program. Little did I know that was the beginning of my professional career in electronics that lasted without a break in unemployment over the next 40 years. So, I started my job as an entry-level production line technician. I excelled in my job very quickly. One day, being a punk at that young age, I half jokingly said to my supervisor, "I will take your job in 2 years." What? I know you are asking, you didn't get fired for that? No, I did not. Thank goodness the supervisor took it as a joke, right? But deep down in me, I was being cocky and had high confidence in doing his job and do it better. Guess what? Under some unusual circumstances, I didn't remember what they were. He was let go, and I did take his job in 2 years. Well, interesting, isn't it? But I didn't stay there in that supervisor position for very long because I was offered a system-level test technician position where I would make more money. So I gave up my position as a supervisor. So the department where I started and supervised was called the circuit board testing. This new position required me to put all these tested circuit boards and assemble them into a system, which is a complete television monitor. Okay, please bear with me. This part may be a little technical for some of you. So you see, in those days, images displayed on television screen required a very high voltage circuitry. Assembling, testing, and operating this circuitry require extreme caution. One day I was going through my routine, and I've done hundreds of times before. It came to the part of the procedure for me to test this high voltage circuitry. I reached in and I remember seeing a big flash of light going between my left fingers on left hand to the high voltage circuits. My whole body was thrown back about 10 feet and I hit the cabinet behind me. And then I passed out. Apparently, I forgot the step that I supposed to turn off the main system power before I reached into the high voltage circuitry. Guess how high the voltage was? Just guess. It was 25,000 volts. Next thing I knew, I woke up in a hospital with EKG machines connected to my bodies. They were checking my heart and my brain. I was there overnight for observation. Just before I was released, the doctor said to me that my head injury when I hit the cabinet was not consequential. However, I was fortunate that only some of my heart tissues were damaged, but should not have much long-term consequence. And of course, my burned finger were quickly healed. After a couple of days of rest, I was back at the job. Well, at least I received a hero welcome, right? I then realized why my position as a system-level test technician got so much more pay in wages. It was because of this kind of possible occupational hazard. Well, looking back in this particular period of my life and ended up with this near-death experience, I would like to share some of my thoughts with you. Starting with the unusual journey in how I was admitted to this junior college and received an education in electronic communications and learned specifically how a CRT television works. And then to be able to find a job so close to home and with a company that design and manufacture product that I've learned so much about at school. Coincidence? I don't think so. With the experience I had gained from being an entry-level production line technician to a supervisor, this prepared me for a long-term rewarding supervisory and managerial position I took on years down the road, where I wouldn't have known at the beginning of my career. Again, coincidence? I don't believe so. Who would have known the production manager who hired me for my first job would become one of the key persons that affected my job change years into the future? Coincidence? I don't believe so. These life events I have shared with you just in this episode, I know they were no coincidence. I believe everything is divinely set up by God and a specific purpose in God's plan for my life. As for my near-death accident, I don't believe that was an accident per se. Looking back, it was clearly my own carelessness caused this event to happen. But I believe that God allowed it to happen in my life to show me His grace and mercy. In fact, that was only the first of a few other physical trauma God has saved me from after this point of my life. You will hear about each and every single one of them in my future episode. This physical trauma can be categorized as storms, some of you may say. That is the reason why this channel is called Storm Chaser, where my slogan is, wherever there's a storm, God is there with us. Through the process of putting stories like this together every week, God allows me to see how He has been paving the life path for me. I thank God for giving me the mission in sharing my life story with you and other viewers. It is my prayer that you may be able to relate some of these stories to your own life experiences. Through them, we together can see our lives are not just some random events that just happen. They are designed and planned by God according to His perfect will and purpose for your life and mine. Perhaps something feels like a storm that is happening right now in your life, or will happen in our life that we simply don't understand. But let us be encouraged by God's promise in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. He says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." God got you, and He got me. If you need someone to pray with you or pray for you, please email me at prayer.stormchaser@gmail.com. We are standing by to pray for you and pray with you. If you have not done so already, please click on the subscribe button on the lower left-hand corner or right-hand corner or the bottom, and the notification bell icon, so you won't miss another future episode. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up or give me a comment if you like. Well, my time is up. I thank you for watching. God bless you. Until next episode, Storm Chaser out.